My friends, the plan is coming into focus. The plan is looking like it's going to be realized. And the plan begins tomorrow because Nintendo just announced that Indie World is happening tomorrow, March 17th, Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Tune in for about 20 minutes of information on indie games coming to Nintendo Switch. And the plan I'm referring to is last week's big rumor/leak from VentureBeat, where they said there still were 2 directs coming this month. Now, given all the coronavirus chaos, it would be reasonable to think that those plans got pushed or delayed. But it looks like maybe they're going to go according to plan, because Indie World this week and then General Direct next week is what VentureBeat was thinking would happen. And we've already got the first piece of the puzzle, the first half of the puzzle complete with Indie World confirmed for tomorrow. But what's going to happen at this show, and will it be worth your time? Well, I've got 10 games that I'm pretty confident are going to show up at Indie World. Let me know in the comments down below which of these games you'd be most excited to see appear at tomorrow's 2020 Indie World Showcase. The last 2 shows were pretty darn awesome. And as I mentioned recently, with E3 2020 canceled and many gaming conventions also being tabled, Nintendo's focus on indie developers and smaller companies becomes more important than ever before. It's going to be more challenging for these smaller publishers and developers to get the word out, to promote their game, to sell their game. So Nintendo's emphasis on bringing these all to Switch and then sharing them with the gaming world is awesome. So it comes at a perfect time. Plus, I'm just jonesing for new things to get excited about for Nintendo Switch. The last shows were in August 2019 and December 2019. I think you're going to see some games rear their head once again. It was August 19th and December 10th to be specific, and one game that showed up in August of 2019 was Eastward, and I think Eastward is due for a new trailer and a date. This comes from Chucklefish and developer Pixpill. It really looks like The Last of Us 2D. It is a post-apocalyptic 2D gorgeous art game focusing on combat, exploration, and puzzles, where you take the role of a man named John who finds a strange girl named Sam in a secret facility. Then you can control both characters to solve puzzles, obviously duke it out with flamethrowers, guns, frying pans, meet all sorts of different characters along your journey. You're riding on this railway across the country, stopping to solve, to accomplish, to interact, and it has this incredible aesthetic and vibe that just feels like they really were trying to capture maybe some of what The Last of Us has brought to the table and has been, beloved for years now, and will do so again soon with Last of Us Part 2. But this game that borrows from 90s Japanese animation with these awesome 3D lighting techniques and wonderful art, I think it's going to be fantastic. I haven't played it yet. I don't think anyone's played it yet, but I expect to get a bunch more information tomorrow. Now, Minilco's Night Market is a game we heard about a while back, and it's basically Animal Crossing plus cats with a little bit of Don't Starve vibes thrown in. They claim it is 20 plus hours of story-based gameplay, but also infinite replayability with open-ended gameplay packed in. And you will be befriending 80 plus townsfolk at the weekly night market, and you'll be crafting different items, gathering resources, selling what you find. So it's like Stardew, Animal Crossing, Don't Starve. You're playing and competing in different games. You've got all sorts of cats. There's cat racing, for goodness sake. I've become a new cat lover. I used to not love cats, but ever since I moved down to Florida and met Muffin, my cat, I'm now just enamored with these creatures. So this is published by Humble Bundle and brought to you by Meowza Games. It's coming in 2020. It has ridiculously cool art and aesthetic. And even though Animal Crossing is due out this week and has received phenomenal reviews, I think there's room for something like this because it does seem to have its own niche, and it is focusing on story and 20-hour campaign, which is something that Animal Crossing does not really dive into, although those Nook Miles are definitely getting me excited for achievement-based objectives. I think we will see more of Minilco and the Night Market tomorrow. Super Meat Boy Forever. It has been forever. This game was supposed to come out last April, and then May, and then who knows when, and now it's almost April again. So will this game release anytime soon? I think this is going to be your stealth drop for tomorrow. I think Team Meat has been waiting to drop this. It showed up at PAX East again this year in Boston. It looked great. It's got so many levels. It is auto-running Meat Boy, which sounds like it would take away so much of the Meat Boy fun, but it actually is still incredibly fun. It's still incredibly challenging. The art style is upgraded and impressive. I thought it was ridiculously good, and I thought we were going to get it last year. It would be one of my top indie games, but I think we're getting this tomorrow. I think this is going to be the drop. They haven't said anything in forever. Why? Maybe they've got a little behind-the-door deal with Nintendo to drop this one stealthily and secretly, and it's going to be an instant buy for me, and probably should be for you as well. Spiritfarer is one that we know is coming to Switch. It's got, again, really pretty art and a unique idea where you are building a boat and exploring a world full of spirits that you have to help guide to the afterlife. So you'll be, again, gathering resources, crafting different items, and trying to get these passengers, probably fulfilling their objectives to get them across mystical seas to the afterlife. And there also is 2-player cooperative play if you want. It's a very relaxing game, and maybe they want to just kind of bundle this all together. Minilco, Animal Crossing, Spiritfarer, they all kind of share a similar vibe, and maybe it would be good to get some of these relaxing, really long games out there for the time being. It sounds like this one is a lot more narrative-based as well, similar to Minilco than Animal Crossing. Maybe even less open-ended than Minilco, but one that I'm still very much looking forward to. Now, a game that showed up at the December Indie World and had everyone talking was Sports Story, the big, bold, unexpected sequel to Golf Story that brings in soccer, volleyball, tennis, and more. You now are going through dungeons, mini games, buried treasure, whole bunch of characters. It's really just taking the Golf Story idea, which was, hey, let's play a cool 2D golf game with great pixel art and add kind of a story to it, to all sorts of sports, and also just expanding the gameplay and the ideas tenfold, maybe even 20-fold. I think this one looks fantastic. It's got up to 4 players. It's supposed to come out mid-2020, so this is something that I think will get a date, probably for like May, and be out in the near future, and one that doesn't need a lot of description. It's just going to be awesome. If you played Golf Story, great, and you're excited for this. If you haven't, maybe go get it. It's probably cheaper now, I would guess, and it's a totally worthwhile adventure. But if you're not a big golf fan, this brings in other sports and that RPG gaming goodness, and a whole bunch of craziness with dungeons as well. So it looks just to be a culmination of wonderful work from Sidebar Games. Hollow Knight Silksong is due. We've talked about this one many times as something that Nintendo could show at a Direct or at an Indie World. Well, there is no Direct as of yet, and not a Direct confirmed, so I'm not going to cross my fingers. I'm going to say that Hollow Knight Silksong is shown off tomorrow. Team Cherry debuted this game last year around this time. They showed it at E3, and nothing since. It has been total silence. They did release Hollow Knight on Switch via a stealth drop at E3 a number of years ago, so could they once again stealth drop this game? I feel like it is a big enough IP at this point that they will not do that. They'll want to get people excited and anticipate this release, and so I feel like it gets a date and a new trailer and maybe some details tomorrow. But I fully expect to see Team Cherry's latest epic, started off as DLC, evolved into its own game, new character, beautiful visuals, new bosses, new mechanics, new ideas, same great Bugs Life-inspired world, a little bit of moodiness to make things even better. I'm ready for this one. I think it is a first half 2020 release. A game that has not shown up in an Indie World or any Nintendo Direct is Baldo. No, not Balto, that white dog that had a Disney-alike movie back in your youth, but Baldo, which looks like a mix of The Legend of Zelda and Ni no Kuni. It is a top-down action-adventure title with puzzle-solving, dungeon-crawling, exploration, and a whole bunch of pretty art. There hasn't been much said about this game, and it is definitely one that bears a lot of resemblance, as I mentioned, to Ni no Kuni, but it looks like it could be pretty darn fun. It was announced for Switch last year in May, and it seems like something Nintendo would like to highlight given the very gorgeous nature of the visuals, and given that we have no date for the game as of yet. Maybe they have done some work with Nintendo to be the ones to share the good news. Roki, a game shown off at Indie World last year, is a Scandinavian adventure title inspired by those LucasArts games of yesteryear. You get to explore a living fairy tale forest, make friends with monsters, search for items, solve riddles, chart your journey, and it's supposed to be an adventure for all. Non-violent gameplay, accessible controls, and universal themes to really appeal to all sorts of gamers. It again has very beautiful visuals, which is something that, I mean, indie games in general, but Nintendo in particular, seems to love to emphasize with their games they promote. It's supposed to be available in winter. I feel like winter is just about over, so this one could be another stealth drop or a game that gets a release date of like next week. I fully expect to see it pop up again at Indie World. What the golf? What the golf? Another golf game, really two in the same indie world? I think so. What the Golf is a fantastic title that is out on many other platforms. It was announced for Switch last Indie World, the August Indie World to be exact. And while we don't often get games that see repeat appearances at Indie World, you know, they have just started the Indie World branding last year, and I think, you know, they want to get these games out there, and it is good to occasionally see them again, especially if it's ready for a date. If they're not ready for a date, no double dipping, but if they're ready for a date, I think we get it. And What the Golf, I think, is going to be the other stealth drop tomorrow. I'm predicting Super Meat Boy Forever and What the Golf as the two games that are available on the eShop immediately after the presentation. So we get this game tomorrow. It's very fun. It's called What the Golf, but it's less golf and more of like a physics game where you're trying to get everything into a goal. Doesn't matter if it's a person or a soccer ball or a car or a boulder. It's got all sorts of insane levels. It's very, very cool and one totally worth your time. If it's priced appropriately, it's going to be an insta-buy for me on Switch, and I think we'll be playing it tomorrow. Now, the last game I've got for you is my stealth surprise. Nobody's really predicting it, and I think that it could happen. Nintendo has a pretty good relationship with Supergiant Games. They brought their games over before. Not Pyre as of yet, but Hades is coming to console. We know that this year. They themselves have said, we expect Hades will come to other platforms once early access is complete sometime in the second half of next year. We haven't decided on all those platforms yet. Well, I bet by now, nearly a year later, they have decided on at least some of those platforms, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this one pop up as a first on Switch. It would be a big get. It's a fantastic roguelike, and what's the best platform for roguelikes right now? PC, I know, but I'm talking about consoles. The best platform for roguelikes is Nintendo Switch, and you know, games like Dead Cells have seen incredible success. Enter the Gungeon on Switch. Hades is remarkable in this genre, and it's needed on Switch. Maybe Supergiant wants to bring Pyre first and go in chronological order, but given that they have brought their past titles, it makes sense to bring their future, and Hades fits wonderfully on the system. That's my kind of out there, off-the-wall prediction. We get a Hades announcement for Switch, which would be a big deal since it's currently only available on PC, and players love it. They're updating that game every 50 days. They bring great new stuff, fantastic art, awesome characters, and really good combat. Mechanically, Supergiant knows what's up. Artistically, Supergiant also knows what's up. And Nintendo Switch, I think you know what's up. Get this game on our platform. What do you guys think you're going to see at Indie World, and which of these 10 would be the one you'd want most? Of all the games, honest to goodness, for me, I just want Super Meat Boy Forever to finally release, so I'm really hoping it does see that stealth drop tomorrow. And then Eastward looks incredible. I'm jonesing for The Last of Us. That HBO series has me hyped, and a different twist on that kind of dude and young girl storyline where they're puzzle solving through a post-apocalyptic wasteland, meeting characters, surviving, maybe some emotionality can be brought in. I think this one looks like a really good time, and I hope it gets a near in the future date. It does say early 2020, so fingers crossed it might even be next month. Anyhow, no waiting for Indie World. It is tomorrow. I'm so excited we're getting something, and I hope you guys are all staying safe out there, staying calm, and looking forward to this show. We'll share it together. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're ready for all the announcements. I'll bring them your way tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Mountain, noon Central, and 1 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, that's 10 a.m. Pacific, 11 Mountain, 12 Central, 1 Eastern. I'll see you there. Until that time, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Be good to yourself and others out there. SwitchForce out.